deepen our partnership in terms of Kenya's own export of horticulture, meat, poultry, and dairy products to the Seychelles. We have discussed and agreed on the need to deepen our partnership in terms of an exchange program, both in terms of utilizing the assets that we have, for example, Kenya Youth Elite College, and partnering also with their counterparts in the Seychelles, in terms of Kenya's ability to export also our teachers to the Seychelles to support the education sector. We have talked about the need for us to deepen our cooperation in tourism. Kenya's safari product and Seychelles beach product are well renowned, and we have agreed on how we need to further deepen the partnership between our two national tourism boards on how we can jointly sell our products, as well as the ability to increase flights between Nairobi and Seychelles via KQ and increase cargo potential. So in short, we have opened a new chapter, a new leaf of two countries that have been neighbors and friends. We've talked of the large number of Seychellois who live and are part of Kenyan society. We've talked about also the Kenyan diaspora that is living and working in Seychelles. And we said that this people-to-people exchange, business-to-business exchange is what we as governments need to facilitate, given the fact that it is both our ambitions and intention to ensure that we do everything that we can to deepen regional trade, investment, and to grow our regional economies by working and collaborating together. In conclusion, I also took the opportunity to thank His Excellency for the partnership and cooperation that our security agencies have received in our fight against piracy, terrorism, but most specifically in our fight against the drug trade. It is through the cooperation that we have had with the Seychelles government and their respective agencies that we have managed to secure some of the successes that we have secured in recent past. And I did take the opportunity to thank the President, to thank his government for that support. So, Mr. President, once again, I just take this opportunity to welcome you to Nairobi, to welcome you to Kenya. Please feel at home. Please feel amongst your brothers and sisters. And I look forward to this beginning of a new chapter in our partnership, a partnership that I believe will be a win-win for our two nations. Welcome once again, Mr. President.
Asante sana, Mr. President. Jambo. Mr. President, 120 years ago, Seychellois, some of our nationals, they came to Kenya to help build the railway from Kenya to Uganda. Today, I am honored and very happy that I lead a delegation, and we're here, back again. And I am the second head of state paying a state visit to Kenya. And today is a historical day for all of us, because since becoming president on the 16th of October, it is the first country that I visit, and you, Mr. President, you are the first head of state to invite me. This has a true meaning, because what your president is doing here, he has been putting in place a development agenda to meet the new challenges of the Kenyan people. It hasn't been easy for him and for his government, but what is very important is that he has remained focused on developing your country so that your people reap the benefits of this new pragmatic way of dealing with the problems of Kenya. Mr. President, I'd like to also commend you for the leadership role that you play in the region. Your efforts working with Somalia will help the region so that the people of Somalia can continue to build institutions, and where the citizens, they live the freedom of development. I want to commend your efforts, Mr. President, in your role that you play within the African Union. We commend you for the wonderful work that you're doing, and I personally commend you for the leadership, your leadership role to lead Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a fantastic bilateral meeting, and we have agreed on a series of areas so that we can deepen cooperation. Seychelles stands ready to work with you, Mr. President, and your government to put in place a new framework whereby we can help you develop your fisheries sector, your defense sector, and in particular, your Coast Guard. This we are prepared to work as a result of the next round of talks, whereby we have agreed that around June, July, we have the joint bilateral commission that will set the deadlines and timelines for us to arrive at the various actions. We have also agreed, and this is a change in what used to be happening within the region. For many years, we have failed to look at development of trade within our region. So the President, myself, we have agreed to make a new departure. We look at our countries first, and then we look at the region. So we have decided that we look at the region. So both Kenya and Seychelles will now look at the promotion of what is called the two-center destination. You've got your beautiful safari, and of course Seychelles, as you know, we've got the beautiful beaches. So we have agreed that both our marketing agencies and organizations and ministers will work in transforming this new vision into reality. Importation of meat, poultry, Seychelles, we have been looking elsewhere. We want now to seriously look at the importation of meat and poultry from Kenya, with the main objective of bringing down the cost of living to the citizens of Seychelles so that we can all benefit as a country. This will also apply to agricultural products. So basically, this is a new departure. It is a new way of looking at things. It is a new way to look at development challenges. But, Mr. President, it is pragmatic leadership. We belong to a new era, a different era of the 50s. It is one where we need more on our continent, transformational leadership that can translate the freedom of our people into shared prosperity. So in all these areas, we will be collaborating, we'll be working with you on a wide range of sectors. And I'm very happy that as part of my delegation, we have members of Parliament from the ruling party and the opposition. We have the chairperson of the Chamber of Commerce, the chairperson of our civil society. And I'm very happy that the President has given the okay, so that members of our delegation will partner with different structures so that we continue to work together. I am aware that Kenya is heading for elections in August. I come from a small country. I wish the Kenyan people all the very best. We pray that the elections will take part, will be held in an atmosphere of peace and stability. We wish the Kenyan people all the very best. And Mr. President and your government, I wish you all the very best in the coming months ahead. Asante sana.
We'll take a couple of questions. Anybody? Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Mombi Warui from Citizen TV. I'd like to start by asking President Uhuru, I'd like to ask you, what attracts you the most to the Kenyan market in terms of wanting labor export to your country, and also in terms of you've mentioned the exportation of meat, poultry. Are there going to be any tax measures? You've mentioned that your people will be able to bring down the cost of goods, and will it be of benefit to Kenya? And also now to President Uhuru Kenyatta. How much labor as a country can we be able to export? Because with other heads of state visiting, we've had these agreements before. Have we been able to implement some of them? And just how much can we be able to give out to other countries? Thank you.
Mr. President, on the first question, Kenya has been developing its education system. So you have developed what is called human capital. And already in Seychelles, we have around 400 of your nationals being employed in the private sector. And this is mainly in the tuna factory. And we now want to continue to benefit from your human capital. And this is more in the area of education, your teachers. When I was Minister for Education in 1998, in 2000, we received some of your teachers, and I believe that you still have good teachers that are there and will be very willing to help us. But what we want to do differently now is to have what is called a technical cooperation agreement, so that once this is done, we'll be able to tap into other areas of expertise. In the issue of importation, basically when you look at the trade statistics overall for Africa, there is more trade-to-trade relationship with the outside world, be it Europe and Asia, but statistics very low within intra-trade. So both President and myself, we believe that the time has come for us to increase intra-trade. Today we are importing meat, poultry, for example, from Brazil, and it makes economic sense for us to import from your country, which also has the high level of quality. And tomorrow I'll have the opportunity to visit your meat commission. Thank you.
I think the second part of that question, I think one of the things that Kenya has done over the years is really invested heavily in our human capital, be it teachers, be it engineers, doctors, nurses, and Kenya will continue to see how we can enter into arrangements with different countries who can utilize that surplus capacity that Kenya has. Indeed, as we are talking now, we have a good number of our teachers in countries like Rwanda, in countries like Namibia. We are hoping to conclude arrangements with countries like Liberia, and as you've heard, Seychelles. And I think this is something for Kenyans to be proud about. I think we have, over the years, really invested in human capital, and that human capital is ready, able, and qualified to work in other jurisdictions as well. And this is something that, as a government, we shall continue to encourage. The Seychelles side, I don't know if there's anybody who has a question. Yes?
Good afternoon. My name is Joao Govinden from the Seychelles. My question is for President Kenyatta. So a lot of prohibited drugs that arrive in Seychelles transit through Kenya. So what has been discussed in line with this, and also in maritime security and the fight against piracy? And if I could add, when do we expect to see you in Seychelles?
Well, let me answer the first part, and I think in my opening statement, I made it very clear that as a government and as a country, we are very appreciative of the deep collaboration between our respective security agencies. Indeed, some of the successes that we have seen in the past, especially in this war against narcotics, has been as a result of the cooperation between the two governments. We have indeed discussed that this is one area that we want to deepen cooperation, where we can exchange both intelligence, we can exchange ideas as to how to combat a vice that both our countries are very keen to eliminate. And indeed, as we did discuss in our earlier discussions, we have said that this issue of drug trafficking, the issue of terrorism and piracy, are issues that we must combat, that we must deal with firmly and eliminate from our countries, so that we are able ultimately to focus on the key mission. And that key issue is how we can work together for the mutual prosperity of our peoples, eliminate poverty, create jobs for our people, and achieve our social economic objectives as two nations. So key to that will be our ability to ensure that we eliminate these evil trades that have the potential of dampening our vision for the future. One, yeah.
My name is Margaret from Capital FM. My question goes to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Seychelles seems to be doing better in the industry of tourism. What is the Kenyan government doing, maybe to emulate them and make our sector strong, especially as we go towards the elections? Thank you.
Well, like I said, part and parcel of our discussions has been how we can collaborate between our two countries, especially in the area of tourism. Kenya and Seychelles depend on tourism for a good part of our GDP. Tourism is a critical sector in both our economies. But again, we have also agreed that our products are not in competition, and we can actually work together and collaborate together, because the Seychelles beach experience is very different from the Mombasa beach experience. It's more attuned to our safari. And here is where we were saying there exists a huge potential for us to work together to joint sell our safari product, which is world-renowned, alongside the Seychelles tourism product. We're not comparing like to like when it comes to our beach experience. It's a very complete, different experience and different market segment. So, as I said, there is no competition. Actually, there is great potential for collaboration. I think you will agree with me.
Yeah. I think also I think one also needs to understand the recent problems that Kenya has gone through. But from the recent statistic, your tourism numbers are 16% on the increase. But the tourists coming to Kenya are different. But you also have a percentage that are willing to pay for the safari. And we also have tourists coming to Seychelles that will also be willing to pay for the safari here. So I think the strategy is to relook at the marketing strategy. And this is where I think the two ministries, the two ministers and our two marketing agencies, when they sit down and they look at this new marketing strategy, we will be able to put something which is solid that will benefit our two nations. Thank you, Mr. President.
Last question, probably from the Seychelles side, if there is one. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Sasha from the Daily Press today in Seychelles. My question is about the major development projects in the Mombasa ports. So more specifically, what interest does Kenya have in developing Mombasa as a fish transshipment post, and how that will play out in terms of the yellowfin tuna quota implemented? Thank you.
Well, let me put it this way. First and foremost, our focus with regard to Mombasa port has largely been based on cargo. We haven't actually developed our fisheries side to the extent that we could have. And that is why part and parcel of our deliberations today was to see how we can deepen partnership and how Kenya can learn but also partner with the Seychelles to develop a sector that is really very, very underdeveloped in Kenya. And there we are really looking for Seychelles to take the lead in giving us both technical but as well as support in developing that sector for Kenya to be able to achieve its full potential.
Mr. President, the Kenyan economy has been, for the last 25 years, on agriculture. And unfortunately, we've had other people looking at your EEZ. And I think that is going to be the next frontier for Kenya, the fisheries. And Mr. President here is talking of a new partnership. And Seychelles, we stand ready, both on the regulatory, the research, and the fisheries policies to help you, to partner, to build. We'll create jobs, but more importantly, the resources will be exploited by the new industries that we want to create together. So this is the new frontier for Kenya, one that we want to help. And as I told Mr. President, there's no consultancy. You don't pay consultancy for this. You're talking to a brother country, a sister country, and we are prepared to transfer the knowledge and skills. Thank you, Mr. President.